Well, today we're looking at this interesting knife. It's a little bit of a blast from the past. I don't believe these are made anymore. But this is a Meyerco knife, okay, which was designed by Darryl Ralph. All right, and as most of the gun guys can see already, this one has grips that are the same as a 1911. Now, this is not the only company that's made this, and I'm honestly not sure offhand who came up with it first. Darryl Ralph, of course, is a very well-known knife designer, but I do know that there's a factory, I believe in Canada, the company's Ultimate Equipment, and they've been making this for a little while as well, and they make a much better version of this. This is a cheap Chinese version. You can see down there, China. This one originally was about 30 bucks when it first came out. Now you see them for sale for about 100 bucks. I guess they've become a little bit of a collectible. But the Canadian company Ultimate Equipment, they have this version in a 440C, and they also offer it in S30V, and they even say S35VN. Now the 440C version is the only one I saw on their site for sale, which was at about $125. Okay, but I've heard on the forums that and especially with a much older video, because these came out I think back in 2010, 2011, something like that. So they're not, nothing new at all. But back then, I believe the better steel options were about the 150 to 160 range, which is not bad at all. 160 bucks for, a cool little knife with some S35VN or S30V. So it was a big deal back when it came out, and it kind of faded away. And since then, I'm assuming that Myerco made their own cheaper version. Now, the only influence, really, the Darryl Ralph influence, is definitely this here, which is kind of a signature design for his flipper, as well as, acts like a guard. Okay, that's in a lot of his knives, as well as the fact that this one is assisted opening. Okay, the one from Ultimate Equipment, basically up top here they have a looks like a button, but it's not. It's actually a lever, and it pokes out on both sides, so it's ambidextrous, and you pull the lever back this way. Okay, and it's supposed to mimic, I believe, the mag release on a 1911. So it looks like a button, but you don't push it in, you slide it back. There's actually, if you're interested in the Ultimate Equipment, I'll put a link to their website so you can read all about them, and I believe you could still purchase it from them. But also I'm going to put a link from Custom Tacticals, which is a YouTube channel here. Awesome knife content to begin with, so if you never heard of him before, definitely watch a lot of his videos. But he did a video years ago, and I will dig it up on the Ultimate Equipment one, because I remember seeing that many years ago. So I'll find that for you, and if the video's still up, I'll put his link so you can learn all about that one and his opinions on it and stuff, because he does good videos. So, as well as, I believe, I don't know if it's currently available, but I know that the NRA, if you join the NRA, at least anyone who has been an NRA member, you constantly get information about their NRA store, which sells NRA branded stuff. So a lot of times, like, there'll be some Benchmade knives or some random knives from different companies, and they'll put the NRA logo on the blade and stuff. And of course, they sell hats and shirts and all kinds of gadgets. But I know they had a version, an NRA version of the Ultimate Equipment knife. Okay, so if you're interested in it, I believe they have the 440C version for like 100 bucks. So if it's something that really interests you, and you want like a little bit of a better quality, or at least that version as opposed to this one, because this one's going to be extremely hard to find. But if you're interested in that, like I said, the NRA store might still carry. If I could find all the stuff, I'll put all the links down below so you guys can check that stuff out. But anyway, this is a very interesting knife. The whole concept with all these models is that you can put on real 1911 grips to give a different look, as well as to, kind of mimic your gun. So let's say you had like a, black 1911 with, regular standard wood grips. You can have your knife, a black knife, and you could put on some wood grips. Now, I do still have a bunch of 1911 grips from when I had my Rock Island Armory 1911. But my Rock Island was, I believe, an officer size, about 4 1/4 inch barrel. And these grips are too big for this knife. So I'm assuming, because I know the whole shtick here is that you can put on, regular 1911 grips. So if you have a bunch of custom grips or something, you can put them on there. But these, as you can see, where the screw holes are, it's smaller. Okay, and actually I have the wrong side. Not that it matters much, but just to show you here. The screw holes do not match up. Okay, so these don't fit officer size grips. Probably a Commander, which is like a 3 1/2 inch, and I think I'm pretty sure the compact's just a straight 3-inch, but anyway, a smaller 1911 size grip would fit on here. I don't know 100% because I don't have them here to try, but I did try with my my full officer size, and definitely a full size 1911 5+ inch, you know, barrels. That those grips are definitely not going to fit on this, too big. But yeah, it's kind of a cool concept there. The actual model number for this one, if you want to, you know, try to find it online or something, it was called the Meyerco Assisted 45, you know, referencing the caliber for the standard 1911, but the actual model number was an MC4656. Okay, so again, if you're really on the hunt for the specific one, MC4656, all right? And if you can't really find it under that, you could probably look up Meyerco Assisted 45. But yeah, I mean, someone out there is probably selling it somewhere. If you want to hunt down a knife, there's a will, there's a way. You can hop on the forums and look for them. Someone out there has this thing. But pretty interesting. As far as comfort, it's not, I mean, it's a little chunky block. The gimmick of holding 1911 grips is cool for a gun, but as a, you know, a knife design, it's not super comfortable at all. This specific Meyerco version, this is a very aggressive jimping that's on this this piece here, our flipper. Okay, so when you're using it, and you can see obviously this is a liner lock, there's a little bit of side to side, but that's on purpose just so it flies out nice and smoothly, but there's no up and down. It's great for grabbing that. It sticks out pretty far, very grippy. As far as the assisted opening, opens very fast. That's all grand and everything. However, as a guard, it sucks. Oh my God, so uncomfortable on top of your finger because that aggressive jimping wraps all the way around. Now, if you look, this bottom here is where it touches my finger. All right, so that bottom becomes the top. So unfortunately, you can't really get rid of that part of the jimping. Because originally I thought, man, if I just, you know, because I kind of like this knife, but I didn't want to really modify it. I wanted to keep it because it's a little bit of knife history. Definitely a little unique, but I don't really want to follow that down or anything because then the flipper becomes smooth. So the jimping that's on here doesn't do anything. The bottom part, right, you don't touch that using the flipper at all. Even if you pushed it straight in, you're not touching that. And that becomes the jimping on top, which you're not touching. So whatever, just saying, not as far as the functionality of it, really doesn't need to be there. This is such a protrusion on the back of the knife. Even if this was super smooth, okay, glass smooth, you still couldn't miss that flipper. So it's not necessary, it just becomes uncomfortable. The actual grips here are rubber. Again, as far as the Ultimate Equipment version, they came with a variety of ones. I think the grips were much cheaper on the 440C models. They did come in different color variations too, if you wanted black or just like a kind of a matte silver or whatever. You could check their site for that information. But as far as you know, these grips, they're just a rubberized grip, which I kind of prefer. If you throw on some wood grips here, it changes everything. At least you have a nice grip, especially if it was going to be wet or you're in a moist situation. It does facilitate more grip being kind of rubberized, and of course having such a nice texture or pattern on here. Once you start going to, you know, custom grips, they can become whatever you're throwing on there. It changes everything as far as, you know, how it feels. This does have a protrusion here for your lanyard hole. Okay, mimicking again maybe the original 1911s did have a little lanyard hole on there, or some of the models did. Kind of a very blocky. You can see this is literally a pointy spot. All right, as far as using your knife for defense, you could use this literally like this and slam this into someone. I don't know if that would function properly as a glass breaker or anything. I do think there is a glass breaker on the Ultimate Equipment versions, and it's even marked. It says glass breaker on the bottom, if memory serves correct, because like I said, I haven't seen that for many years. Pretty interesting. The Meyerco version, just chunky, cheaply made. I don't even know the steel on here. It's about a 3.5-inch blade. I couldn't tell you. I don't use this knife enough to really even guess, to be honest. So big old question mark, right? So this thing is heavy. Comes in at 8 ounces, which is definitely a chunk. If you look in there, there's no lightning holes or anything like that. Nothing skeletonized or drilled out. It's just a big hunk of metal, both sides, metal liners, metal backspacer. I'm not sure if it's this thickness all the way through. It's hard to tell, but yeah, partial closed design here. See a little bit of room there for some dust and crap to, obviously you need it for that flipper to come out the back. Actually, they give you just enough room for that flipper. Okay, so that's the purpose of that. It's interesting. It's nostalgic. I remember it was a big deal when these things came out. All the gun guys wanted them. I mean, if you're a gun guy and, you know, obviously most gun guys like knives. I've said this before. If you're really into guns, you have a little interest in knives. And if you're really interested in knives, you probably have a little interest in guns. It's just kind of a guy thing. Obviously, there's lots of women out there likes knives and guns too. But generally speaking, it's kind of a man thing to like knives and guns. It's like, ugh, super manly, but naturally we gravitate towards that because we are the protectors and providers and we need our weapons and tools, right? Makes sense, I guess, from a very basic point of view. So anyway, I mean, it's kind of cool, it's interesting, it's not the best usable knife. This one did have a pocket clip, which I actually took off because I did carry this a couple times in the pocket and I just didn't want to clip it to my pocket. You can see its location. All right, so we have a tip down, right side carry. It's just such a hunk. All right, and this, the flipper pushes up against the pocket there, so it's just not ideal. Okay, so I end up taking it off. I do believe I still have it somewhere, but yeah, I mean it does come with a pocket clip. I don't actually remember what it looked like, but I wouldn't personally clip this to my pocket. This is just an interesting knife to have, especially if you are a gun guy and you're super into 1911s. And some of the gun guys out there, hardcore 1911 guys, that's all they have, all they carry, all they shoot, all they buy. Then yeah, this knife makes sense. It'd be a cool knife to keep in the safe next to your big 1911 collection, I guess. Or if you just wanted a knife that really matched your gun, I guess you could carry this every day, but it's such a brick in your pocket. It's clumsy and chunky and it's just not that ergonomic, not that comfortable. You know, you could, like I said, the ultimate equipment version is definitely a more usable version. But you know, I don't know. I see this more as kind of a fun thing to show your friends and a fun thing to throw in the collection as opposed to actually use. There's just so many great knife options out there. I don't know why this would be what's in your pocket. Does that make sense? Unless you're going to a gun swap or a gun show or a gun meet or just showing your gun buddies. Otherwise, people probably won't care much. But yeah, there's a little jimping on the back here, so it is pretty comfortable. There's not a thumb ramp, but there's a little shelf. All right, so your thumb does rest there. If they follow this line all the way down, it might be a little less comfortable, but yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Hollow ground blade. All right, this one, like I said, is coated black. I don't know if Meyerco ever made another color variation or, you know, dual tone or whatever. I think this is pretty much it. That's all I remember anyway. So let me give you guys one more close-up shot of this. All right, flip this over. And a big thank you. A viewer had sent this knife to me ages ago. And I always meant to get around to doing a video on it, and just recently I kind of rediscovered it and wanted to show it here. But yeah, just pretty interesting. Like I said, a little blast from the past. Pretty cool. So if you guys happen to have an Ultimate Equipment version, I'd love to hear your experience with it because I've never personally owned one. Like I said, I do want to direct you guys to Custom Tacticals on YouTube because I know somewhere in the archives, sometimes old YouTube videos just get deleted or you can't find them. There's a lot of videos that I made I can't even find myself. I search hard and they just disappear. They go into nowhere land of past YouTube. But if I can find Custom Tacticals review on the Ultimate Equipment version, I'll certainly put it down in the description if you guys are interested and want to learn more about that one. But I have no personal experience with it, just this one. And like I said, this cool collectible, cool conversation piece for a knife guy who's been around for a while. But other than that, not that usable. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this one. Hope you guys have an awesome day. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.